Shabbat Shalom, Mashpaka. What's up? Hey, this is your Andre. This is your brother Dre, Yahuah Sha'al, your brother Sha'al, coming to you live from home, Oxford, Alabama. I'm excited. Today, I want to say shalom to you guys. I'm excited because I got my boys with me today, and I got them here for a reason. And you'll see that as we get ready to talk. All right, so I want to say shalom, shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to all the Mashpaka. Much love to you. I hope you're enjoying the Shabbat. Love you very deeply. All right, so I want to go ahead and jump right in because I don't want to. I'm trying to cut down the time of my videos, and I'm trying to cut down the rambling on and everything. And in an effort to do that, that's why I posted this agenda earlier. All right, so this is what I'm going to try to do these on some of my videos, maybe not all of them, but where it's appropriate, I'll do an agenda and post it. Basically an outline of what we'll be talking about, and then we'll try to stick with that to keep the video flowing, where it's not taking too long and where it's engaging. We hit the points and then we do what we need to do. All right, so first of all, I just want to introduce my sons. These are my two boys. This is AJ, my oldest, and this is Amari, my youngest, and I love these guys. All right, so I got them with me on this video because of what I'm talking about. And I want to show you this. All right, we're talking about circumcision. I'm gonna go into this video about circumcision. It's not gonna be real deep, but we're gonna hit scriptures, and I want to show you something because there's a point in this. All right, I was looking at circumcision, and I was thinking about how our people lack the influence of the man, the father, the husband, the male figure, period. And Yahuah took me to the covenant that he made with our father Abraham. And I began looking at it, and something stuck out to me. Is that the covenant that Yahuah made with Abraham was based on men. All right, so he made the covenant with Abraham, and we're going to go through all this. All right, so first of all, let me just talk through the points. Talk through the points. I'm gonna let my son do this. This is the outline. AJ, would you just read the outline and where we're gonna be going?
Benefits of circumcision. What is circumcision and why is it good for the body? Cutting away foreskin prevents disease in the reproductive organs by cleanliness and fighting against bacteria entering the organs. Yahuah's instruction to circumcise father is to be circumcised and circumcise all males in his house. How women benefit from male circumcision. Circumcision of the heart. The natural shows pictures of the spiritual. What we need is a nation of circumcised men, circumcised leaders.
All right. Thank you, son. All right, so Yahuah was dealing with me he's been dealing with me very heavy about manhood, about fathering, and about being a good father and a good husband, which is things that I feel like I've lacked in throughout my life. I told my boys and my daughter, we've had many talks, and I told them I had to apologize to them because of failing them as a father. And no, I have not been this. We have to get out of what other people tell us, and we have to look at what Yahuah says, and then we need to use Yahuah as a standard, not other people. We need to use Yahuah as a standard. Sometimes other people will tell you that you're okay, but what does Yahuah say about the way that you're living, and the way you're behaving, and what you're sowing, and the inheritance you're leaving? What does he say? A lot of times people will tell you that you're okay, and we get that a lot. Because we live in a world, in particular in America, a culture that loves to encourage. But are we encouraging in righteousness? Are we encouraging in truth? All right. So anyway, I had to apologize to my boys and to my daughter, to my kids, all of my kids, about a lot of the things that I have done and not done as a father. And I'm doing my best to allow Yahuah to take me in the direction that he wants me to go. And particularly as a man. Part of that being a father and being a husband to my woman. And just being, in general, being a man. All right? It takes growth. We have to grow. All right? So then, let's talk about circumcision. first I want to hit some points. We're going to go straight to the outline, hit you with some scriptures, and then we're going to we're going to leave it alone. All right. First thing I want to talk about is the first point, the benefits of circumcision. All right. So I was doing a little reading on circumcision, and I think most people know that circumcision is has major health, just natural health benefits, you know, for men who are circumcised, as far as cleanliness, keeping away bacteria, even diseases that can form in the penis. Even there's a condition where the foreskin can actually get so tightened and entangled it can actually enter the penis and cause a disease. That was crazy. But I've been doing a little bit of reading on the research on the circumcision and how circumcision in general is good for the male productive system. It protects your productive system. I want you to pay attention to that, because we're going to go back to that reproduction system, your reproductive system as a man, penis, testicles, all that area that involves our reproduction. All right. So even with benefits for women, men being circumcised also benefit the women, because it helps to prevent them from passing on disease and bacteria into the woman through the vagina. All right. So even circumcision benefits the woman. All right. I'm not going to get all deep into the physical aspects, but I just wanted to show you, because remember, natural things show spiritual parallels. Now we got the natural, and oftentimes Yahuah will use the natural to show us the spiritual. For example, a righteous man is like a tree that's planted by the rivers of the water. That's in the book of Psalms. The righteous man is like a tree. So if we look at a natural tree, we can understand a natural tree planted by the rivers of water. We can understand what a righteous man is like. It's a spiritual parallel to that. It's a natural picture that has spiritual connotation. A righteous man is like a tree that's planted by the rivers of water. All right. So that was the first point. The first point was the benefits of circumcision. Circumcision has a benefit. It has a purpose. It's a disease fighting activity. All right. It's important to understand this. Remember, we're going somewhere with this. This is not natural. It's natural, but it's not. Don't stop there. Disease fighting, bacteria reducing and eliminating, circumcision. All right. Now, with that said, let's go to number 2. Yahuah's instructions to circumcise. All right. A father is to be circumcised. First of all, hey sissy.
Hey.
A father is to be circumcised first of all, and then he is to circumcise his children. Sons, male. No instruction for circumcision for the woman. It's all in the male. This is not male chauvinism. This is Yahuah. There's a reason for all this. The whole covenant he made with Abraham, we're going to go through it in a few minutes. It was all having to do with every male in his household. The men had to be circumcised. All right. Yahuah's instruction to circumcise. A father is to circumcise. He's to be circumcised because Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised on the same day. So Abraham had to be circumcised first as obedience, then his sons. All right. So we're going to go and read a few things. I want to say this first before we start reading. I'm going to give this to my son, my oldest son. I want him to start off with these points first, and then I'm going to move on, and my youngest son will read some of these. But I want to say this first before we go any further, that the circumcision of the heart is first. If we look at Scripture and we're not understanding, we'll think that circumcision in the flesh came first, but it didn't. It did not. When Yahuah told Abraham to circumcise in the flesh, Abraham's heart was already circumcised. That's why he could obey. Watch this. All right, son, I want you to read 17 through 19.
And the Lord said,
to make sure he doesn't know where we are.
Genesis 8.
Speak up and interject. All right.
Genesis 18 and 17. The Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, and he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him.
All right, thank you, son. So this is Yahuah speaking about Abraham. He said that he's not going to hide what he's going to do. All right, this was when he was about to go kill, take out Sodom, burn it up with fire, Sodom and Gomorrah. But he said, I'm not going to hide this from Abraham. He said, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. All right. Then he said this, for I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. Why? Why? That they shall keep the way of Yahuah and do justice and judgment, that Yahuah may bring upon Abraham that which he spoke of him. So, first of all, let's establish this. That covenant was not one-sided. Abraham had a responsibility. Yahuah makes it clear right here that the only reason that he could bring everything upon Abraham that he promised him was if Abraham kept the covenant. But Yahuah already knew ahead of time that he was going to keep it, because he said this, I know him, that he will command his house and his children after him. He's going to command them. He's going to instruct them. We look at later on and we see Joshua. He says, as for me and my house. Before he said that, he said this. I'm paraphrasing. Y'all can do whatever you're going to do. I can't control you. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuah. That's what he said. All right. Now I want you to, we're going here first because we have to establish this, that the circumcision of heart came long before the circumcision of flesh. Abraham's heart was circumcised, which allowed him the ability to be obedient and go through the circumcision of the flesh as Yahuah commanded him. All right. Next sheet, son. Read the ones that I have stars by. Y'all, excuse me just for a second. I'm just sorry. I love these guys, my boys. All right, go ahead, son.
Galatians 3:7. Know ye therefore that they which are of faith and same are the children of Abraham. Hebrews 11:18. By faith Abraham.
11:8.
My bad. 11:8. By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went.
What are the words that I circled here in Galatians 3:7?
Children of Abraham.
And what else?
Oh, faith.
Faith. What about Hebrews 11:8?
Obeyed and went out.
All right. The circumcision of heart was first. That's the reason why Abraham obeyed. If we look into the book, I believe it's the book of Jubilees, where it gives more detail about Abraham's life, you'll see that Abraham, when we don't have all the books, a lot of times we miss key information. Abraham didn't just come up out the blue. Yahuah just called Abraham out the blue. Abraham was seeking Yahuah. Abraham was already talking to Yahuah. Abraham was already rebuking his father for being a pagan. Abraham came from idolatry and paganism. He was a heathen. That's where he came from. But he was already seeking Yahuah. He was already from a righteous line that went astray. All right. So he was already seeking Yahuah. And then Yahuah told him to leave, to go. Abraham's heart had already been touched and converted by Yahuah, which is why he was able to obey. All right. The circumcision of heart comes first. All right. Read the next, just the ones that are bulleted.
Romans 4:11. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, the righteousness might be imputed unto them also. Then Galatians 6:12. As many as desire to make fair shew in the flesh, they constrain you to be circumcised, only lest they should suffer persecution for the cross of Christ.
All right. So, y'all, excuse me, y'all. My battery here is supposed to be charging. I'm not sure why it's not. We're going to figure that out. Give me just a second, y'all. What's this? It is? Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I thought I had my phone charging, but obviously I didn't. But it is now, so we're good. All right. So this is why it's important that we understand the old before we go to the new. You jump to the new covenant, and people take Sha'ul and just abuse him. They just lie on him all the time. This is why it's completely vital that we understand the first before we go to the last. If we just jump to the last, we're going to miss so much. If we look right here in Romans 4 and 11, Sha'ul says, and he received the sign of circumcision. This is key. He received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had, yet being uncircumcised. What he's saying is that Abraham had a relationship with Yahuah and was a man of faith and a circumcised heart before the fleshly sign of circumcision came. That came afterwards. His heart was changed first. Then he got the seal and the covenant of the circumcision. Not the other way around. Yahuah didn't come to Abraham, have him circumcise himself, and then say, okay, I'm going to make a covenant with you. I impute righteousness to you because you believe me. No, that happened afterwards. The circumcision of his heart happened first. It's first. All right. Galatians 6 and 12 explains what Sha'ul was talking about. He was talking about people that were trying to make a show in the flesh. They were trying to make it more about flesh than it was about Ruach. That's why he was saying the things he was saying. He says right here in Galatians 6 and 12, as many as desire to make a fair show in the flesh, they constrain you to be circumcised, only lest they should suffer persecution for the, it says for the cross of Christ, but we're going to just say for the stake. All right, for the stake of Christ. All right, for the stake of Mashiach. All right. He made it clear. He's talking about those who are trying to make a fair show in the flesh. You'll see in other places where he talked about how they don't even keep the law, but they're trying to get you to keep it. That's what he's talking about. He wasn't speaking against the law. He was speaking against a heart of. He was speaking against the condition of a people's heart. All right. Now, we did that. Let's see if there's anything else here. That's it for that. All right. So we got that first section done. The whole point of that first section was to establish a couple of things. First thing is that the circumcision of the heart comes first. All right, the circumcision of the heart comes first. The other thing is that Yahuah established the covenant of circumcision with the men for a reason. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. We're going to read a few scriptures on the circumcision, and then we're going to move on to the circumcision of the heart because it's very important that we understand this. Amari. Son, would you read the ones that I have highlighted here?
Genesis 7.
And yes, say what the scripture is and speak up and project. Make sure they can hear.
Genesis 17:10. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. Genesis 17:11. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of covenant
Between. Yeah, it's
me,
betwixt, but that's just that old English, just between.
Betwixt me and you. Genesis 17:12. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generation, he that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger which is not of thy seed. Genesis 17:14. And the uncircumcised man child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. Genesis 17:23. And Abraham took
Ishmael,
his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day as God.
You just replace that with
Yahuah had said unto him.
All right, so listen to this. Genesis 17:23, it says that Abraham took all the male of his household and circumcised them the very same day that Yahuah told him to do it. He didn't wait 5 years. He didn't wait 5 months. He didn't wait 10 years. He didn't wait 30 years. The very same day that Yahuah gave him the instruction, he circumcised himself and took all his boys, all the men that were born in his house, whether they were of his seed or whether they were strangers that were purchased with his money, whether they were servants or his natural seed. He took everyone in his house. As for me and my house, he took everyone in his house and circumcised them the very same day that Yahuah said to do it. All right. Now, I want to show just a couple of things here where Yahuah shows the difference between the circumcised and the uncircumcised. 1 Samuel 14:6. And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, come and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that Yahuah will work for us, for there is no restraint to Yahuah to save by many or by few. 1 Samuel 17:26. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Yasharal? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of Yasharal? There's a difference between circumcised and uncircumcised. We can go through many more of those, but I wanted to just show that. All right, now we're going to move to what I call the meat of the matter, the circumcision of the heart. All right, we're going to go to the circumcision of the heart. The natural shows pictures of the spiritual. What we need is a nation of uncircumcised men. This is the reason why I have my boys with me on this video, because what I'm allowing Yahuah to lead me in whatever direction he wants to lead me into. And what I'm focused on right now, this is why I'm not on Facebook as much. I've kind of cut back. I'm just kind of in and out. What I'm focused on right now is leading my house, getting myself right, and leading my house right. That's my main focus. Getting myself right, leading my house right. All right, so I'm going to try to include my kids as much as I can, not on everything, but in particular on Shabbats. You know, I want to include them. And because, see, what's supposed to happen is one day when I'm gone, they're supposed to be in this seat. That's what's supposed to happen. One day when dad is gone and long gone and past, and they're supposed to take the reins. You know, they're supposed to be equipped by us to further the kingdom and the work, and we're supposed to teach them to obey Yahuah. You know, we're going to get into all that, because we're going to get into that, because we're talking about the men right now. Circumcision. The command was to circumcise the males. The women had nothing to do with it. That's not from any man. That's from Yahuah. The whole covenant was based on circumcising the males. All right. So now we want to talk about the circumcision of the heart. I want to go ahead and say this up front. I said this in a video a while back. And I'm going to say it because it's true. I mean this in no disrespect and no attack on anybody. It's just a truth. I have to speak the truth. Anyone on this video that's come out of Christianity or still in Christianity, I just want to let you know that the circumcision of heart, as it's been presented often in Christianity, is false. The circumcision of heart did not start in the New Testament. The circumcision of heart was not something that was given to replace obedience to Yahuah. I will show you in scripture, which I believe I've done it already in videos before, that the circumcision of heart is directly related to obedience to Yahuah's covenant, obeying his Torah, and walking in the manner in which he instructed his people to walk. That is where every precept of the circumcision of heart comes from, and that's where every time you hear the mention of the circumcision of heart, it takes you to obedience, and that is clear in scripture. It's not something any man is making up. It's clear in scripture. You do not hear the circumcision of heart and it being related to some lofty mindset or some positive thinking or some out there in the clouds philosophy. No. When you see circumcision of heart in this book, in these writings, you will clearly see that it's related to obedience to the covenant. Circumcision of heart. All right, let's go to I want you to read this one, son. We're going to read the bullets of points. Let's go with that. Start there.
Leviticus 26 and 41. And that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept the punishment of their iniquity.
Leviticus 26:41, right?
Yes.
Leviticus is Old Testament, right? And it says uncircumcised what?
Hearts.
Uncircumcised hearts. All right, go to the next one.
Deuteronomy 10 and 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked.
Stop right there. Deuteronomy 10:16. Old Testament, right? It says, do what? Circumcise therefore the foreskin of what? Your heart. Let's go on to the next one.
Deuteronomy 30 and 6. And the Lord thy Yahuah will circumcise thine heart, and the heart of thy seed, the love to love Yahuah thy
just put love Yahuah.
To love Yahuah with all thine heart and with all the soul, and that thou mayest live.
Now that's Deuteronomy 30 and 6. Again, circumcision of heart. Now I want to do something, son. Run and get my sefer real quick. It's right there on my bed. I want to show you something deeper in Deuteronomy 30. All right, keep on going, son, while he's doing that.
Joshua 5 and 2. At the time the Lord said unto Joshua, make thee sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time.
Read the next one.
Joshua 5 and 3. And Joshua made him sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins.
All right, we're going to go back to the heart in a minute. I want to jump here. Now we're talking about seed. All right, this is where Yahuah is commanding Joshua to circumcise the children of Israel again, because the ones that were the actual book, so the black book, the ones that were circumcised had died off. The children that were born in the wilderness weren't circumcised. So after they came out, he had them circumcise them. He had them circumcise the ones that weren't circumcised. Read Joshua 5 and 4.
And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt, that were males, even all the men of war, died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt.
All right, so that's where it tells us right there. They died. The men of war, the older ones, they died off. And their seed, go ahead and read Joshua 5 and 5.
Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not been circumcised.
All right, it just told us right there. They circumcised them because the ones that were born in the wilderness were not circumcised yet. So Joshua had to circumcise them. He circumcised the seed. This is where I'm getting. This is why the men need to be circumcised. This is why the father has to have a circumcised heart first, because it's a responsibility of the men to lead the nation. So what the nation needs is a nation full of circumcised men. But it's deeper than a physical circumcision. We're talking about we need a nation full of men whose hearts have been circumcised by Yahuah. That is the only way that we can train our kids properly. That's the only way that we can love and value and build up our women properly. That's the only way that we can operate successfully as a nation, is if the men, the leaders, have circumcised hearts toward Yahuah. Now watch this. Deuteronomy 30 and 6. I want to show you something real quick. Deuteronomy 30 and 6. That's part of what was read just right there. But I want to show you the part that comes after that. This is still talking about circumcision of heart back in the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 30 and 6. And Yahuah Allahaka will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love Yahuah. This is Deuteronomy. He's talking about after you guys come back. When all these things have come upon you, the curses and the blessings and the curses, and you're scattered. I'm sorry, just let me read it, because I want to make sure you understand. This is powerful. Deuteronomy 30 and 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things have come upon you, and the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahuah has driven you. This is talking about us in captivity, in the scattering. And shall return to Yahuah, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day. Then he goes down to 6. Yahuah will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed, which is why we read Joshua, because now the children that weren't circumcised, Yahuah came right back and said, okay, we're not going to forget those kids. Circumcise all them that came after that weren't circumcised. And the heart of your seed, to love Yahuah with all your heart. And we're going to figure out what loving him with all your heart means. And with all your soul, that you may live. And Yahuah Elahaka will put all these curses upon your enemies and on them that hate you, which persecuted you. And you shall return and obey the voice of Yahuah and do all his commandments, which I command you this day. So the whole circumcision of heart took us right back to obeying Yahuah's commandments. It took us right back to Deuteronomy. So that ideal that the circumcision of heart is something that's New Testament, that removes Torah, removes obedience, is a flat out lie. And scripture proves it. The circumcision of heart and the new covenant, the renewed covenant, is all through the Old Testament. It is not something new that we need people to philosophize and make some new religion and all that stuff. We don't need that because it's right here. We can see it right here. All right. We're almost done. Okay, so we read that. Now I'm going to finish this off and read some of these. All right. Listen to this. Circumcision of heart. Isaiah 52:1. Awake, awake. Put on thy strength, O Zion. There's another song in Christianity. If y'all saw the video I did before about the music, there's another song by the same artist that comes straight from here. O Zion, put on thy strength. All right. Awake, awake. Put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the called out city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Jeremiah 4:4. Listen to this. Circumcise yourselves to Yahuah and take away the foreskins of your heart. This is all the way back in Jeremiah. When he's talking about circumcision, he's talking about the heart. Circumcise yourselves to Yahuah and take away the foreskin of your heart, ye men of Yahudah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doings. So he related circumcision of heart. He related the uncircumcised heart to the evil of your doings, not to a lofty imagination, not to a positive thinking, but your works reveal your heart. Watch this. Jeremiah 9:25. Behold, the days come, saith Yahuah, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. This right here is deep. Watch. Very next verse, 26. Egypt, Mitzrayim, and Yahudah, and Edom, and the children of Ammon and Moab, and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Yasharal are uncircumcised in heart. We have to stop right there just for a second. We have to read this again. Egypt, because this is what Yahuah said at first. He said, the days come, saith Yahuah, that I will punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised. He's talking about flesh. I'm going to punish those who are circumcised, that are of my covenant, along with those who are not circumcised. Why? Because they were behaving the same way. They had circumcision in their flesh, but their hearts were not circumcised. They were behaving just like heathen, even though they had the circumcision in their flesh. So Yahuah said, I'm going to punish them both together. Watch this. Egypt and Yahudah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness, for all these nations are uncircumcised. So he was even lumping Yahudah with them because they came to the point where they weren't even circumcised in the flesh anymore. They had went so far away from Yahuah's covenant, they weren't even circumcised in the flesh. They were just like these heathens. You notice he lumped Yahudah right there with the heathens, saying they're uncircumcised. But then he says, I'm going to punish them because they're uncircumcised. And all the house of Yasharal, because they are uncircumcised in heart. So he was going to punish the heathen because they were uncircumcised in flesh. He was going to punish Yasharal with them because they were uncircumcised in heart, even though they were circumcised in flesh. We better get this. We better get this. Everybody that think this has something to do with flesh, the only reason I even say anything about the flesh is because the flesh, we being the people, is supposed to lead us somewhere. It's supposed to lead us to the covenant. It don't got nothing to do with getting points for being blood. It don't got nothing to do with that. Yahuah is going to call many of his sons who are not of the seed, because they follow him and they love him and their hearts are circumcised to him. Where many that are of the seed, the bloodline, are going to be cut off because of their rebellion and disobedience. All this, you got Hebrews talking about boot kissing, gonna kiss my boots. You're going to be kissing some boots of people you call heathen in the end, because their hearts are circumcised to Yahuah, but yours is not. So he's going to elevate the heathen that you call heathen. He's going to elevate them in the place above you, because their heart is circumcised, but yours is not. Ezekiel 28:10. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith Yahuah Elohim. All right. Now, we're almost done here. Look at this. 1 Maccabees 1:15. And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the called out covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. So this is talking about Yasharal, the blood people, made themselves uncircumcised and joined themselves with heathens. All right. 1 Maccabees 1:48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. 1 Maccabees 1:60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. So this is talking about in Maccabees, where there were women who were following Yahuah's covenant, and they had them put to death because they were circumcised. There was a time, this is that gap that we talk about, that you don't see when you just go from what Catholicism gave us as the Old Testament to the New Testament. There's a big gap there that we don't see. In the time of Maccabees, our people were going through all kind of persecution for obeying Yahuah. You could read some gruesome things that happened to our people for sticking to the covenant and following Yahuah. If you even look at the Roman Catholic Church and we look at early Christianity, it was outlawed to practice things that were of the Hebrew, that were of the true scriptures and the truth. Keeping the Sabbath was against the law of Catholicism. It was punishable to keep the Shabbat, to do anything that had to do with the true people, to connect any way with had to do with the true people was against the law. That's where Sunday church comes from. It was a direct attack of Christianity against the truth of Yahuah. They even have it in their own writings where they said that they changing the Sabbath is proof that they had the authority to change it. These are blasphemers and wicked men that give us a lot of the things that we hold true and say that belongs to him. All right. Now, John 7:22. Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision. Listen to this. This is in the New Testament. Not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers. And ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man. Acts 7:8. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begat Isaac and circumcised him the 8th day. And Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat the 12 patriarchs. Listen to this. Acts 7:51. I want to go there for a minute. We're almost done. Read that for me. Acts 7:21.
Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your father did, so do you. So do ye.
All right, so that was Acts 7:51. Watch this. We're going to get you just a little bit more of that. Listen to this. It says, ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart. Stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart. Now listen to this. This is key. Ye do always resist the Ruach, as your fathers did, so do ye. You resist the Ruach with your uncircumcised heart, just like your fathers did. Circumcision of heart was not new in the New Testament. This was Stephen talking right here, right before they killed him, by the way. New Testament, what they call the deacon. He took them right back to the old, said, you're doing exactly what your fathers in the old covenant did, in the original covenant did. They did the same thing. They resisted the Ruach. Their hearts were not circumcised. You are just like your daddy. That's what he's telling them. And then he says, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? All right, so he's going on to just explain to them about the circumcision of heart also. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. All right, so we went, and the whole point of this was to deal with how important circumcision is. But the key is that the circumcision started with the heart. We showed that with Abraham. Circumcision began with the heart first. It was Yahuah, it was Abraham's circumcised heart toward Yahuah that allowed him to have faith, to follow him and obey him and do what he said. We cannot obey him and follow him without our hearts being circumcised. All right. So I want to say this in closing out this video. We cannot stress enough how important the man is and how important it is that we raise men in this covenant. It can't be stressed enough. We go back to the covenant. We see that that Yahuah said that the covenant would be circumcision. He went on, circumcision is all through there. This was the original thing that he gave Abraham. He said, this is what my covenant with you is going to be. You're going to take every male in your house and circumcise him. The males. No women were circumcised. No woman had the reproductive organ to be circumcised. It was the male, because the man is represents the reproduction. Your identity comes from your father. It's the father that gives you your identity. You can see that even with heathens. When a man and a woman have a child, most of the time, even if they're not married, that child gets the father's last name. Usually, if a woman names her child with her last name and not the daddy, it's because some bad blood with that father. Some serious bad blood. Because I know dogs of fathers that still have women that will name that child out of respect out for his name. Even though he may have cheated, he may have been a horrible man. It has to be something inside that woman that he had to be downright despicable to her for her to not give that child his name. And these are people that are not even in covenant that understand that. The identity comes from the father. It's the father. The covenant was made, the sign of the covenant was in the male. It was in the male of the people. It's important. It's highly important that we understand that our responsibility as men. So like I said, I had to apologize to my boys, to my family. And only thing I'm about right now is just trying to get in order with Yahuah. And then trying to raise my seed after me to walk with Yahuah. And not walk somewhere and not walk some other way. That's the bottom line with me. It starts with the male. I just want to encourage the Akeem before I get off the video. I just want to encourage you, if you're in covenant with Yahuah, if you're not in covenant with Yahuah, first of all, come into the covenant. If you've been following any Abari, any Hebrews for some period of time now, whether it be me, whether it be the Akeem or the Akudi that you see on my page, whether you have others that are not even, I don't even know, that are not connected with me, but if you've been listening and you've been hearing and you've been following this for some time, it is time for you to make a decision. How much evidence do you have right now that Yahuah has not given us the religions that men have given us? If you have the evidence, it's time to move. It's time to make a decision. I just plead with you that if you have been following me for any period of time or following any of my Akeem or my Akudi, whether it be those I fellowship with like Yeshai, in our assembly, a Spirit of Truth, or it be those that I don't even know. But if you have been following them and you have been looking and listening, And then you have been going back and you're looking for yourself, and you can see that the things that they're telling you are true. And you can't find any holes in it, but you can find holes all through your religion. If that is the case, then it's time to make a decision. Are you going to continue to follow error and lies, or are you going to follow the truth? It's time to make a decision, because see, that decision right there is your circumcision. See, Abraham had to be circumcised first. Yahuah told him to circumcise himself and to circumcise all the men in his house. He couldn't circumcise them if he wasn't circumcised first. So that's the beginning of your circumcision, when you can say yes to Yahuah and say no to men. Say no to religion. Say no to lies. Say no to error. Say no to blasphemy, because that's what all that stuff is. It's blasphemy against Yahuah. When you can say no to that and say yes to truth, you've been seeing it. You've been following it. At some point, you have to make a decision that, okay, I have the evidence I have now. That right there is not the way. This is. That is the beginning of your circumcision of heart. And then you are empowered by Yahuah in his Ruach to be able to circumcise your house. So I just want to encourage you, if you're not in the covenant, to come into the covenant. If you're listening to this video, if you've been following Hebrews for a while, that are telling you the truth, because I know there's some people out there that are not telling you the truth. You got a lot of hate people out there. You got all kind of foolishness. But if Yahuah has favored you to bring you into people that are speaking the truth, then it's time to make a decision. All right. And now I want to encourage all those who have made a decision, who are walking with Yahuah. My Akim and my Akudi, I want to encourage you on this Shabbat to keep walking and keep doing what you're doing. Continually perfecting the walk. Because see, I'm going to tell you right now, if you fall and if you have struggles, things that you're dealing with, and you have struggle, I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to walk with you because I know myself. It's a dangerous thing to forget where you come from and to forget your own struggles and to forget your own fights and battles. It's a dangerous thing to do that. We are all housed in human fleshly bodies. We all have the potential to fall. We all have the potential to let down our families, to let down Yahuah. We all have that potential. No one is exempt. We all have that potential. So what we have to do is, when I know that you are a righteous man or a righteous woman, I don't care what your struggle is. If you have a repentant heart, and if you are one that is serious about Yahuah, I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to walk with you. The hard messages are only for rebellion. They're not for those who are trying to grow. If I'm going to walk with you, I will walk with you. If a righteous man falls, Yahuah will pick him up every time. If a righteous man falls. But a righteous man is not one who dismisses what Yahuah says and follows a doctrine that says that you can do opposite of what Yahuah says, justify doing opposite of what he says, and still be in covenant with him. That is a lie. That's not a circumcised heart. A circumcised heart is one that if I fall, I know Yahuah will pick me up. I'm in covenant with him. But I have to own my fall. I have to own it. I can't justify it and make excuses. I have to say I was wrong. Not do like a false religion and teach does and say that disobeying Yahuah is right. That's rebellion. But a righteous man does have the ability to fall. But when a righteous man falls, Yahuah picks him up. And when a righteous man falls, he gets up not justifying his fall, but saying, I did it, I was wrong, I confess my faults openly, and I turn. And Yahuah, I ask you, and I thank you for your forgiveness. And I ask that you would help me and strengthen me, because all I want is to please you. And I'm sorry for what I did. That's a righteous man. That's an uncircumcised heart when it falls. There's a difference. All right. I do not walk with rebellion. I will not walk with rebellion. That's why I left the church. I'm just being for real. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to attack nobody. I'm just telling the truth. I will not walk with rebellion. Anything, any organization, any group, any people, any religion that says that you can disobey Yahuah, completely replace what he says with other things and be righteous is a lie. And I will not walk with it. That's a lie. Won't walk with that. But I'll walk with a righteous man who in his flesh falls, because I have flesh too. That's where, when Yahushua is talking about don't judge, that's where that comes in. He's not talking about let wickedness run rampant throughout a nation and say nothing about it. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about when a righteous man, don't condemn the righteous. That's why he says those who are spiritual are the ones who win back a brother or win back a sister. Those who are spiritual, those who can see themselves and not puff themselves up and start looking down on people. Those who understand that I could be in the same place they are tomorrow, because I have flesh just like they do. And I'm subject to fall just like anyone else is. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about don't judge as in just let stuff go and don't say nothing about it and let wickedness just run wild. That's what church teaches you. That's not what Yahuah teaches us. The apostles didn't teach that. I can show you all through the New Testament the leaders rebuking. The apostles rebuking wickedness, calling it out, even telling us to expose it. I can show you that all through the New Testament. That other stuff comes from Christians, and they mess. And I'm just being real. All right, so it starts with the men. Circumcision was given to the male. There's a reason for that. If we look into like Baryt Sapar says, that things have spiritual connotations. Spiritually, it has to do with the men. The men are the leaders of the nation. The men are the leaders of the house. It starts with us having a circumcised heart. Akeem, I say this in closing. Love your woman. Love your kids. Do your best to follow Yahuah with a pure heart. Be tender and compassionate and loving toward our families. Consider ourselves when dealing with them. Consider ourselves. Don't rule with an iron fist. Don't rule with vigor. Rule with love. Be a loving leader. And let's learn and grow in that. It doesn't mean be a passive leader. It doesn't mean let stuff go on that shouldn't go on. Love means sometimes you have to be aggressive. But the heart, your family, your wife, your kids should always know that you love them. Even when you come hard sometimes, they should know it's in love. I had to tell my son just yesterday, because of something that happened at school, that if it happened again, that I was going to be on his butt. That I was going to put that wood with 16 holes up to his butt. Just yesterday I told him that. But he knows that I say that not out of being a mean, nasty daddy, but because I love him and it's my job to correct him and train him up. You know, so we have to love our families. And in particular, let me just say this. Love your woman. Please love your woman. Akeem, I beg you, as hard as you are as a man, as hard as we are and as aggressive as we have to be as men, because we have to set a standard, or we can't let anything happen and allow just any type of mess to run rampant. We just can't. We have to be men. But as hard and warrior like and warrior mentality as we are as a man, let's have that same level of tenderness and compassion and intimacy with our woman. Let her see that warrior mentality come out in how we love her. Love her with a warrior mentality. Love her like you're not going to let nobody stop you from loving her. Like you're not going to let anybody take away the intimacy that you share. Or building the intimacy if you want to build it. Love her that way. That same aggression that we'll have if a man comes into our home trying to harm our family. Let's have that same aggression in a tender way toward building intimacy with our woman. I love you guys deeply. I hope what I tried to do worked, which was get an outline and go by the outline and, you know, try to make things flow. So I'm going to try to do this from now on, not with every video, but where it's appropriate. All right. I can't really see because the camera's so far away, but I do see Jennifer, and I see Baryt Sapar. Shabbat Shalom to both of you and everyone. I thought I saw Lee on there. But everyone that's joined the video, I want to say Shabbat Shalom. Say Shabbat Shalom to the people.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, this is me, Dre, Sha'al, my oldest son, AJ. I love this guy, man. And my youngest right here is my buddy right here. I just wanted to bring, introduce you to my boys, and my plan is to have them on board with me. All right, but I just wanted to say I love you guys. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I pray that the video and the message was Baruch to you. All right, so I'll check out the video, the comments later on. You guys have a wonderful day. Shabbat Shalom, and we're out of here.